And a warm welcome to the Uni-Bowl and Friday night's EFL action on Talksport 2. It should be absorbing, something of a derby with just 11 miles separating the teams. And before a ball was even kicked this season, Bolton Wanderers and Salford City were made promotion favourites in League 2. They've yet to live up to that billing, but it's clear that they are sides with high expectations and progressive managers in Ian Evatt and Richie Wellens, and they're pretty focused on success. And of course, a lot of the expectation rests on some of those star players going forward. For Bolton, a massive boost in having Owen Doyle available tonight. Alistair Crawford providing the ammunition, of course, behind, and Nathan Delfonso, of course, I'm sure has another step to go up in gear. That's for Bolton. In terms of Salford City, Ian Henderson supported tonight by Ash Hunter, George Boyd and Brandon Thomas Asante. There's enough firepower for both these teams. As yet, they've struggled with consistency throughout the course of the season. Goals, we probably expect them tonight. The referee's talking with the two captains down there on the spot at the moment. Ian Henderson on one side of the pitch, and on the other, Anthony Sarcevic. And our referee tonight is Darren Drysdale. Something that was noted by Neil Redfern a couple of minutes ago, and that's the colour of the Salford shirt and shorts. And you think there's something a little bit devious going on here, quite a close link to Manchester United, Neil.
Well, it's Manchester United's colours. If you look, red shirts, white shorts and black socks. Obviously, Salford, is it a borough of Manchester, or is it, obviously it's a part of Manchester, but they've definitely got the Manchester United colours on.
They certainly have, and they're aiming to play that way in the future. Bolton, of course, in the white tops and the dark shorts, and our referee in a moment or two will signal a period where the players take their knee before we get going on what is a 7:45 kick-off here at the Uni-Bowl in League 2. So the players continue to observe that moment on the knee, many raising one arm, and now we're ready for the action. 3 years ago there was a 4-division gap between these sides. Bolton in the Championship, Salford in the National League North, but while things at Bolton spiralled in the wrong direction, Salford have been in a hurry to make some serious progress, and the eventual meeting point is League 2. Ian Evatt's called for a big performance tonight to kick-start the season, and Richie Wellens is making his league debut in the Salford dugout. And Bolton Wanderers immediately on the defence, with Baptiste trying to control the ball on the right-hand side. It's flung high into the centre of the Bolton half, and already there's a few tasty tackles going in as Salford eventually push the ball backwards with Jason Lowe, and then try and start an attack through George Boyd. Out to the right-hand side, it's Lowe once more. There's help over on the right wing, and that comes in the shape of Dishon Bernard, the Manchester United loanee, who might just stay with the club a while longer. You never know if he impresses for Salford. Let's get an early thought from Neil Redfern on how he expects this game to pan out.
Well, Bolton's just kicked off there, Stephen. They've made their intentions plain, to be honest with you. They've tried to turn Salford round. They've got up the pitch, they've got on the second ball, they've tried to compete. It's really interesting. The back three is going to be really important for Bolton tonight.
Ibu Toure down the left-hand side as Salford mark an attack. Here's Ash Hunter, who can be a very busy player and upset opposition teams. Across to Lowe, and it's Salford with all the movement and ball possession. Across coming in from the right-hand side. It will just be kept in play. Ian Henderson went up there, came off his shoulder inside the Bolton penalty area, and then bounces away to the halfway line. And neat bit of play by Owen Doyle, who's a central figure to Bolton's season, or at least he should be, given his history.
Yeah, he is. He's a proven goal scorer, and he leads the line well. Did ever so well there in that little phase of play. Got his body between two red United shirts, Salford shirts. But he holds the ball up so well, and he's so clever with his movement, and they're going to need him to be right at the top of his game tonight, Bolton.
It is Salford City, not Manchester United. But a quick stat involving Manchester United in a moment when the play subsides. Is Threlkeld with a header, and then it comes back into the defence and cleared away by Jordan Turnbull for Salford. Ends up in the Bolton half. If you go back 13 years to November 2007, and this week Salford were playing Shildon in the FA Vars, 212 people were watching, but on that week Bolton were beating Manchester United here at the then named Reebok Stadium.
Yeah, it just shows how the mighty have fallen, to be honest with you. If you look at Bolton and their history, and proud history, to be honest with you, right back to the Nat Lofthouse days, and been a good Premier League club, got in Europe. If you look at them now, and they're trying to find their way back up there again, but it's a long way up.
2 minutes on the clock. It's still goalless between Bolton and Salford, and this is going to be an intriguing night at the Uni Bowl. Has that ball gone just over the line? It has, from the Bolton pass to the left wing, and it will be a throw-in for Salford to take over on that far side. There'll be a keen eye, of course, on the Bolton keeper, Matt Gilks, who tonight replaces Billy Crellin, and it's been a huge decision by Ian Evatt to make that change. So just to give some background on that one, Gilks is the goalkeeping coach who brought Billy Crellin in. At 38 years old, he's the man with the gloves. Will he be slightly nervous himself, do you think?
Or? Absolutely. It doesn't matter what age you are. He wants to keep a clean sheet. He's a proud guy. I mean, he was on the books at Rochdale when I was at the back end of my career. Matt Gilks, really, really top goalkeeper. Had a great career, particularly at Blackpool where he did well. But he'll want to do well tonight. He'll want to try and keep his side in the game. There's no two ways about it.
Václav Hladký in the Salford goal has the ball at his feet away to our right hand side. So as we watch this game, Bolton are kicking from left to right and Salford right to left, and Hladký puts it out to Tom Clark, the former Preston captain who joined in the summer and has been playing right back tonight. He's centre half because Deschamps Bernard is the right back for Salford. But Bolton win possession down the right, and Kioso puts it in, and an opportunity for the home team, and that's palmed away by Václav Hladký. Important goalkeeping and quick off the mark to get to the ball, and Bolton making inroads there. At the other end though, Salford trying to immediately make the counter-attack pay, and they've earned themselves a free kick about 30 yards out with Lowe, the man who was fouled. Well, that was pretty canny keeping. Yeah, it was, and really brave as well, Steve. It's a great ball in from Kioso, just curled it in towards Owen Doyle, and he gets onto it quick, comes out and he spreads himself brilliant. Hladký, it's a great save. He had to be brave, had to put his body on the line, and he did. Ash Hunter with this free kick. It's just slightly left of centre, so it's bit ambitious. Too far to shoot from. Yeah, a bit ambitious, do you think? Well, for most. Yeah. I'm not so sure Ash Hunter has this in his locker, but he's raised his hand, and there's plenty of options in this Salford side, so Bolton are well and truly on their guard. The referee has just about marked out the distance now. Darren Drysdale, he's in charge. It's goalless. Here's Ash Hunter with a free kick. He has gone for goal, and it hits the wall, bounces back out. Opportunity for Brandon Thomas Asante, and eventually that Salford play breaks down and is cleared away by Gethin Jones on the left side of the penalty area. A little bit too feisty as the referee awards a Bolton free kick on the left-hand side of the field. Yeah, just a little flavour of Ashante's vision and awareness there. It's a great little deft ball down the side of the box. It's unlucky. Nearly got the front runner in, and really keen to see this guy play tonight. I had big things about him. He's got great feet, but a little turn of pace, real eye for goal, and showed good vision there. I think he's a super player. Hasn't got any goals this season. I think he has one assist to his name this season. A lot more expected from him as Bolton launch one long, and then the referee blows his whistle again, and it will be a Salford City free kick. There's some fascinating games in League 2 this weekend. A chance for Cambridge to go top. They play at home against Barrow tomorrow. Be able to follow all the action on the EFL show with Dan Windle. All that preview between 1 and 2. Game day live is Sunderland against MK Dons, but loads more action in League 2 to keep an eye on tomorrow. But this, of course, precedes it. And are we in for a goal fest tonight? Ball up to George Boyd on the halfway line. Another great signing for Salford. They certainly have got them in their ranks. Out to Deschamps Bernard on the right. Tom Clark now, little flick of the boot, and turns the ball from the right wing to the left. An almost pin-perfect pass as Ian Henderson was trying to back into Kioso. And Kioso's strength just about won the day there. Will be thrown to Bolton. Yeah, they've got a good shape about them, Bolton, to be fair, in these early stages. The three at the back, if you like, almost becomes a 5 when the wing-backs drop in, when Salford's wide players push high and wide. And they've defended the box quite well at this moment in time. They're going to have to, because they've got real quality Salford in their front line. Baptiste with the throw, header on by Kioso. Salford then play it back into the Bolton half, and Baptiste gets involved again, but down on the floor goes Ash Hunter in a rather theatrical dive, and it will end up with a free kick for Salford. Oh, it's been given as a throw on the left-hand side, just in front of the technical areas below us. We're quite high in the gantry where our commentary position is, here at the Uniball Stadium. It's a stadium that's probably more befitting of a Championship or a Premier League club than a League Two club, and it's very hollow with no fans inside it. We are, of course, privileged to be here, and hopefully you're enjoying the action as it unfolds. There's Kioso, infield for Bolton. Referee again blows his whistle. The game's just being disrupted time and time again by the referee's whistle.
Yeah, he showed some nice touchy, Kioso. That's another great little deft pass inside. Put a great ball across the box earlier on. He's really relishing this game tonight.
And there's a long ball from Ricardo Santos, which bounces into the Salford box and is caught by Václav Hladký, who's already made a big save in the game. Now here's Nathan Delfonso. When he's on his game, he can be an absolute nuisance. Spreads it out to the left wing, and then all of a sudden Bolton have 5 in the Salford box, but Bolton can't get the cross in. Crawford, though, heads it back out wide to the left-hand side for Jones, hoping a cross can be made. Now it comes in, and Doyle tried to sweep a header in, but it was cut away by the figure of Jordan Turnbull. He's back onto the halfway line and chased right up to the edge of the penalty area by Brandon Thomas-Asante. Cleared long by Matt Gilks. Into the centre circle. There's Anthony Sarcevic, the Bolton captain, who's a big doubt for today. Struggled with a back injury of late. Whether Ian Evatt was playing games promoting the idea that he would not play, we don't know, but he is out there, and it does look like he's moving freely. Now Crawford trying to race down the right side for Bolton and win possession first in that left back position, but Ibu Toure sees it out of play.
Yeah, it's interesting, Steve, how Bolton sets up as a front three, because you've obviously got Doyle down the middle as a target, and I know he likes to run in behind, and you've got Delfonso just to the right, slightly tucked in, and Crawford just to the left, slightly tucked in. It's almost like they take it in turns to break past him, you know, so they've got a runner that goes beyond him, and a couple of little passages of play there where they've looked for them runners and they've got in Bolton.
Sarcevic gets a touch on the ball, but it was heavy, gave it back to Salford for a moment, and another player goes down in the centre of the park. Baptiste wins a Bolton free kick. Out to the right side for Kioso. Then infield, Andrew Tutts, the Bolton midfielder. And through to Delaney on the left wing. Bolton can't see the avenue as yet. There's a shirt pulled by Brandon Thomas-Asante on the tall centre half. Ricardo Santos for Bolton. And free kick given. Takes it. Plays it square to Delaney. It's Bolton 0, Salford 0, in a battle of two teams that have never met competitively before, but one that, who knows, maybe in the future might turn into something of a local derby.
Well, if you look at how both clubs are going, I mean, Bolton are trying to revive their status, if you like, you know, all the troubles that they've had and the relegations they've had, and Salford are definitely on the way up. I think it's up to Bolton now to try and stay with such as Salford, because, you know, they've shown their ambition, they've shown where they want to go, and, you know, they're making a real good fist of it.
From the Leeds manager, Neil Redfern's alongside me tonight. I said we've not worked together before. I said to Neil before, which club would you like me to mention when I name check you? I said, your list's too long. Yeah, look at Wikipedia. What club haven't you represented? That might be the best way to introduce you.
We haven't got long enough, mate, to read them all out.
Here we go, Ash Hunter for Salford City, 25 yards out, looks for a curling shot. He was hoping for the top right corner, but all the time Matt Gilks was aware, and he saw that ball curve a good couple of yards over the top right of his goal.
He's sort of just on the left of a three in midfield. There's one sat, one left, one right, Ash Hunter, and he's very, very right-footed. That's a couple of times now he's picked up the ball in good positions and come on his good foot. And really unlucky there. That just didn't come down quick enough, but he's got a real eye for goal.
This is Talksport 2, home of the EFL. Proud to be covering big matches like this. I'm Steve Hothersall, Neil Redfern alongside me, and Bolton with Owen Doyle trying to create an opportunity. But as he chases down Jordan Turnbull, the bearded centre-half for Salford whacks it away to the halfway line. Bolton try and produce something else. Ball through to Crawford on the left-hand side from Gethin-Jones, but too much on it, asking an awful lot of Crawford. He can be an important cog for Bolton tonight, can Crawford. He's been the key to some of the assists this season, 5 in fact to his name. And Bolton now looking to defend this ball with Delaney chasing back behind him and pressurising on his tail.
Yeah, that's where Bolton are going to be vulnerable, Steve. I just look at Tom Clark there, use his experience. As a back three, the space in the channels down the sides, that's where you're vulnerable. If your wing backs are pushed on, and he's aware of that, he's just played that ball first time down the side. They've got the runner in, Salford.
13 minutes into this game, no goals as yet, just one big opportunity. Came Bolton's way, really, but Václav Hladký making everyone stand to attention with the quality of his goalkeeping. And here's Salford on the halfway line, pushing forward down the left side with Ibu Toure, the recently named League 2 player of the season for the last campaign. Scored some great goals and involved in some top-level assists as well. Ash Hunter delivers from the left-hand side of the box into Bolton's penalty area. Crawford's come back to defend, gives it to Baptiste, who hooks it clear with Brandon Thomas-Asante sniffing round his feet. But Bolton come back to defend once more as Ian Henderson charges down the left wing, turns Kioso. He's got assistance now with Toure, but that was poor from Henderson and really broke down what was turning into a good movement from Salford.
Yeah, he did ever so well to begin with, Henderson. Twisted and turned and lost his man. It was a little simple pass for the overlapping fullback Toure, and he ended up giving it back to Bolton. But they do look really inventive, I have to say, Salford, Steve. They've got really clever players on the ball. They run off the ball, they prepare to break past the front. They're really good to watch.
Henderson, a great example of you're never too old. 637 league appearances. Talked about Neil's career, but 637 league appearances, and started every league game for Salford this season. It's Dishon Bernard.
Quality player.
Now low in the Salford midfield, plays it back to Tom Clark. Got a lot of leaders in this Salford side. And now out by Hladký to the left wing. Ibu Toure. A long punted ball up to the left side of the box, and Brandon Thomas-Asante, who's quite willing to work across the edge of the penalty area. He's really hard to pick up, is Brandon Thomas-Asante. He's got a great engine in him and awareness for the ball. And Salford have won themselves a throw-in on the left-hand side of the Bolton penalty area. Far more depth in this Salford squad than there is in the Bolton side. And of course, remember, Bolton brought in 20 players in the summer. Crawford coming back to defend. The eventual clearance by Tott in the centre. Rebounds out for a Bolton throw on the right hand side, which they might just want to take a moment or two before they take it, just to regain a bit of composure. Alex Baptiste, the right of the back three, is the man who'll take it, and he comes over there. And Owen Doyle is clearly a big difference for Bolton Wanderers, but it just feels to me like Salford are growing into the game a bit more. Yeah,
they've got a real strong identity, if you like, modern technology and modern terminology, but they like to play through the thirds. They've split out from the back, they've got full-backs forward, they've linked in midfield. They look a really balanced side, Salford.
It's Talksport 2 and we're live at the Uniball for Bolton Wanderers against Salford, goalless at the moment. There's Gethin-Jones for Bolton, and a long shot comes in and is deflected out by Tom Clark. Not quite sure how much it was going to trouble the keeper, but it's gone out for a Bolton corner in the end on the left-hand side. It was certainly ambitious in its intent from Oscar Threll.
And I think, to be fair, Tom Clark had to try and block it, didn't he? Because, it was travelling.
So a corner on the left-hand side. And Bolton Wanderers have sent Ali Crawford over to take it. Inside the penalty area, Alex Baptiste is inside the 6-yard box, and there's hands all over Nathan Delfonso as that ball comes in, and Delfonso managed to get away from two that were maybe just a bit too tactile with him at that moment in time, and it's gone out for another corner on the left-hand side. So Bolton trying to reimpose themselves into this game. Just looking at some possession stats here, Bolton's 47%, Salford 52 at the moment. And Bolton Wanderers with an opportunity, maybe for the first goal of the game. It's a set piece from the left-hand side. Corner kick to be taken, floated into the 6-yard box, over the top of everyone. Again, the referee blows his whistle just as Gethin Jones was arriving on the far side. And it will be a free kick for Václav Hladký to take. Former St Mirren player.
Yeah, it's a good corner routine, to be fair. It almost shook Gethin Jones free. It was a ball that was played right round the back of the Salford penalty area, and it's a well-timed running, but it was the pushing and shoving in the box that gave the free kick away. But a little bit of inventiveness there from Bolton. They're well in this game, Bolton. I think both sides will be pleased with the way they've started.
Hladký with the goal kick, ends up with Deschamps Bernard on the right-hand side. George Boyd in front of him, played square instead for Lowe, and then him further forward for Brandon Thomas Asante. Salford possession consistent at the moment as they try and get George Boyd in there on the right-hand side. The ball escapes him, just goes too far forward, and Delaney tries to clear. And now it comes back into the Bolton penalty area, and it'll be picked up by the keeper. You wonder which team wants this one more tonight on Talksport too. There's differing reasons, aren't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it'd definitely be a massive 3 points for, to give the season a boost for both sides. Obviously, if you look at the league table, Bolton's needs are greater.
The ball races the way through into the Salford penalty area. Hladký picks it up, although the chase was persistent from the Bolton frontmen there.
I agree with you, Steve. I think Owen Doyle's made a real difference. You can tell straight away. They've got a threat in behind him. His experience about to get hold of the ball and bring people into the game. They look a different side.
Well, we were talking about this off air, and you said to me, you've managed many a team, but you said just the introduction of one player can sometimes lift the whole team, particularly if it's a player of immense quality. And I feel like it's given Bolton a big boost tonight across the park. With a player of that stature, a goal scorer of that ability in your side, you all of a sudden start to believe a bit more in yourselves.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, Steve. And it's just the way that he takes the ball in and brings people into the game. And it's almost now the midfielder prepared to take chances and get forward and make runs.
Baptiste with an awkward backwards header into his own penalty area. Santos, fortunately, is there for him. Wraps it upfield to the halfway line, met by the header of Jordan Turnbull. And yet again, that the referee is... it becomes infuriating sometimes, doesn't it? Just let them play it out.
Well, it looked a great header to me.
Yeah.
I mean, he's towered above Delfonso Turnbull. So great header. Run and climbed, got his timing right. And the referee's seen it as a free kick.
Baptista Sarcevic on the right side of the field. He's a player who sort of drifts in and out of games, as Anthony Sarcevic. Sometimes will start strong and then you don't see him for a bit. Henderson now.
Good ball. Halfway
line. Intelligent with his pass into the middle for Lowe, whose first time pass was hoping to pick out Brandon Thomas Asante, but as he sort of peeled off the shoulder of Santos stood his ground and picked it up. Bolton then try and come back into the Salford half, but it's tidied up into the possession of the Salford keeper, Hladký. There's Jordan Turnbull, turns, plays it back. I think those Bolton front three have been told harass, nip at the heels of the defenders when they have the ball, and Alistair Crawford was just doing that then, trying to upset the Salford defence. But here's Owen Doyle out to the left hand side, Gethin Jones, lots of Bolton players in the box. Jones with a right footed shot near post and picked up nice and easy by Hladký in the end, but showing intent.
Yeah, great build-up play, to be fair. Good interlink play. Crawford involved heavily, like you said before. He's a real important player for Bolton, and it's a good strike, to be fair, from Jones, but never really caught it. Comfortable for the goalkeeper, but a lot better from Bolton.
If you look at the turnover of players in the team, it's fascinating, both teams in fact, because 20 new signings at Bolton in the summer, so you think, well, how do they get cohesive? They need to learn to know each other and each other's habits, etc. But then you asked me a stat before about Salford, which perhaps you could throw in here, about the number of players that still remain from years gone by.
Yeah, well, it was just interesting. We were just trying to find out how many players were still involved with the side that had played with the side that got promoted out of the non-league. And it's only 2 apparently. I'll let you say the names. I can't pronounce it. Is it Dezaruvi?
We'll go with that.
He's one of them. Yeah, but there's only two, so there's only one that's on the bench at the moment.
Ibu Toure is the other.
Toure is the other, but
so it shows massive turnover for both sides.
Absolutely, and it shows that they're prepared to be ruthless to get where they want to get. You know, the owners, if you like.
D'Alfonso going up there, trying to create something. Sarcevic now involved. Out towards Doyle. Doyle with a chance, and he takes it! And he strikes it low and into the bottom left corner of the Salford net. And that's the sort of quality that Bolton Wanderers have got up front when Doyle is involved in the side. He was the hot shot darling last season of Swindon Town. This season, he's starting to pick up momentum, and Doyle with a wonderful finish, which left no opportunity for Václav Hladký in the Salford goal. Bolton Wanderers 1, Salford City 0.
Well, what a fantastic finish from a real natural goal scorer, Owen Doyle. And he just switches off for a minute, Jordan Turnbull, and as soon as he switches off, Doyle's pulled off on his shoulder. It's a great spot by Crawford. You're right about his awareness to assist and pick people out. And what a great first touch and a fantastic strike across the keeper. Great finish.
Well, when you saw that ball played out to him and he peeled and made a few extra yards to open his body up and give himself the opportunity to strike across the goal, there's only one person you're fancying at that point, Neil.
Absolutely. It was a classical striker's finish. Back across the big part of the goal, the keeper leaves. Keeper's got to come near post, narrow his angles. But to be fair to Doyle, he's been in that position so many times and found the net, and it looked comfortable for him.
Bolton Wanderers 1, Salford City 0. Despite it saying 0-0 on the scoreboard still. And Owen Doyle with a fabulous finish. It's Talksport 2. Neil Redfern alongside me, the former Leeds, etc, manager, player now with Sheffield United women, and enjoying that challenge as well, Neil?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're doing okay. We're second in the table. Girls are doing well. I really enjoy working with them. It's good.
Turnbull back to his keeper in the Salford goal. Hladký out to Tom Clark on the right hand side. The scoreboard operator has now shuddered into gear and put the goal up for Bolton. Maybe he's not been that used to it this season, but it is Bolton Wanderers leading Salford by a goal to 0. Low for Salford I should say, in the midfield. Back to Oscar Threlkeld, who can be a really important cog between the defence and the attack. Threlkeld. Now Turnbull out wide to Ibu Toure on the left wing. Turnbull once more, trying to play it away from their penalty area, but this pressing that Bolton are doing is really restricting options for Salford City at the moment.
Yeah, they've locked onto them, brilliant, Bolton. They've basically sorted out their shape as a front press. It's definitely a high front press, good energy to it. But to be fair to Salford, they've not panicked. You know, they're going to go behind, they're still trying to play the football.
Hladký with the clearance out. Santos meets it with a header, drops onto the halfway line. First to it, Ibu Toure. He tried to pick out Ash Hunter down the wing, but Baptiste got in front and played it away. And of course, goal will have done wonders for the Bolton confidence. Here's George Boyd as Salford conjure up an attack, and it's on the left wing. Henderson, Ibu Toure brought in, tried to power that ball in low, but it ricocheted off Baptiste, and then Delaney puts it out of play for a Salford corner. Yeah, that's a couple of times now Kioso's been doubled up on, if you like, as a wing back. You know, he's not got a natural full back behind him, and it's too easy for Salford to get down the sides of him, and they're getting a great position there, and it's good defending by Baptiste in the end to give the corner away, but good reply by Salford this. It's been a great first 26 minutes to watch. Really interesting how these two teams have approached this Friday night action. Ash Hunter with the corner from the left hand side, ball headed across the face of goal, and Santos in the perfect position for Bolton just to head it clear. Salford looking dangerous. Here's Brandon Thomas Asante, 25 yards out, opens up some space, left footed. Oh, that's a terrific stop by the Bolton keeper Matt Gilks. He was onto it straight away, and Brandon Thomas Asante, who really has got some power in those strikes, had almost found the top corner, and Gilks for the first time with something very acrobatic. Yeah, what a wonderful strike, to be fair, by Asante. He's been threatening that for a while now. Such a talented young player, but he rolled back the years there, Matty Gilks. That was a fantastic one-handed save. It was going right in the top corner, got across his goal quick and tipped the ball over the bar. Might need an extra massage tomorrow. Those muscles have calmed down. Corner kick from the right-hand side this time for Salford City. So they've gone a goal down, but they're immediately asking questions of their hosts tonight, Bolton Wanderers. This corner from the right, it's low to the near post. George Boyd just tried to flick it off, it didn't work. And it was actually Turnbull who flicked it off, looking for Boyd. And Bolton look for the immediate counter. They have to stop that, and it ends up on their back line with Santos and then Delaney, and out to the left wing and Gethin Jones. Sarcevic making himself available, but Delaney turns onto his left foot to get away from George Boyd and fires it up the line. Delfonso gets involved and wins a header. For me, perhaps he's not imposed himself enough in the game, Delfonso.
No, he's been more of a bit part player, if you like, in these opening exchanges. I actually do like the way they set up Bolton. I thought they might look a little bit light in midfield, but it hasn't been that apparent, to be honest with you. With Salford having 3 in there and Bolton only having 2 centrally, but I do like the way the front 3 set up.
It's Talksport 2, and that's Crawford with a shot from distance, which hits Salford legs and bounces up easily into the hands of Haladki. And it's the whole game live from the Uni Bowl Stadium tonight. Bolton Wanderers 1, Salford City 0 at the moment. And Ian Evatt, I'm sure on the sideline, will be pumped up. He's a man who came from Barrow, who had experience of promotion with them and immediately set out the stall to get promotion with Bolton. But of course, when he was at Barrow, he needed half a season to galvanise before the next season took them to a promotion side. And it might just be the same at Bolton Wanderers, considering their current league position. They're 20th with 10 points, but they lead this game tonight. And at the moment they're attacking again on the left wing. Trying to get the cross in from that left-hand flank is Sarcevic. Comes back out towards Delaney. And now in the middle of the Salford half, it's Bolton with possession. And over to the right side for Baptiste, whose crossing doesn't quite possess the quality that those Bolton attacking players would have wanted, or at least Gethin Jones on the far left side, but it has resulted in a Bolton corner.
Yeah, that's a good spell of play, Steve. I think that, they've been patient there, Bolton. They've worked the ball around the box. They couldn't go through, or they couldn't get the cross in, so they ended up getting Baptiste in down the side, and it's a good ball to the far post, and well defended in the end. They had to defend it well, Salford, but it's been a good spell of pressure, this, from Bolton.
Ali Crawford to take yet another Bolton corner from the left-hand side. Right-footed, though, so it curls in towards the keeper, punched away by Haladki, who got up above a crowd and did very well considering the circumstances. And eventually Bolton play it back to the halfway line. They have got a good period of consistent possession at the moment. And Bolton looking to throw another ball forward to the edge of the Salford penalty area towards Doyle again, headed away by Deschamps Bernard. Further cleared by Threlkeld. But there's always a Bolton player there at the moment to pick up possession. Despite that time, Andrew Tutt making a little bit of a mistake with it. Now it's with Nathan Delfonso. Over to the right-hand side, and Baptiste brings into play Chioso on the right wing. Then Baptiste with a 30-yard ball forward, which Delfonso heads infield for Crawford. Picked up by Sarcevic. Sarcevic nutmegs it past Ian Ash-Hunter. And on the edge of the Salford penalty area, Salford finally win it back. The Amis looking to break. And Brandon Thomas Asante, his pass was cut out. There's definitely confidence in this Bolton side as the ball's wrapped by Delaney across the Salford penalty area and eventually goes out on the right-hand side. They're in a really good period of prolonged possession, intense and enthusiasm, Bolton, at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. They're playing with confidence, Steve. I think that if you look, both passages of play there, the outside centre-back, Baptiste on the right earlier on, and then Delaney in that one, stepping into play.
Thrown into the penalty area, and Top bangs it right across the face of goal. Sarcevic, I should say.
He's a little bit different, isn't he, Sarcevic? He's, for a central midfield player, he's more of a flair player, runs really well with the ball, got good creative tendencies. I think he's well aided in there, to be fair, by Andy Tutt. He just sits in and lets him go forward and play, but it's had a really good spell there.
Linked with a move to Salford in the summer, but decided to come here. Already scored a big goal for Bolton this season, a 91st minute saviour against Mansfield, so he's involved himself in quite a few games, and already I think the fans taking to him. And there's Matt Gilks clears it out from his penalty area. So he's already been involved. Big story tonight emerging in terms of his selection in the side, and you wonder whether that will be a consistent long-term thing for Bolton now.
Well, at this moment in time, it seems to be the right decision. Because
he's made a case for himself, hasn't he?
He's got a clean sheet at the minute. I mean, there's a long way to go yet, but made one world-class save, if you like, earlier on.
32 minutes played on Talksport 2. Bolton Wanderers 1, Salford City 0. Salford defending at the moment. Tom Clark heaps that ball high, comes off the laces area, ends up on the halfway line for Henderson. And now there's Lowe with a quick ball forward, but Baptiste heads away. And then Kioso down the right-hand side. These Bolton players fighting for each other, fighting for the manager and the cause at the moment. And Salford, who have had their own period in the game, just struggling to retake the momentum at the moment.
Yeah, I think they've stepped up a little bit, Bolton, to be honest with you. Stepped the pace up. We talked about the press earlier on. They've really gone after the ball. I think it's just knocked Salford off the stride a little bit.
So last weekend, of course, it was FA Cup action, and that was the first of a couple of cup wins that Richie Wellens, the new Salford manager, has got under his belt. But it was defeat for Bolton in the FA Cup, losing 3-2 to Crewe. Here's D'Alfonso. He's getting involved in a feisty battle for possession with Jordan Turnbull. Cleared away by Salford eventually. Ends up with Delaney for Bolton. Over to the left-hand side, Gethin Jones. Available is Owen Doyle, the goal scorer, but the pass didn't quite find him. Tom Clark heads away. Bolton again, though, fighting to win it back. Sarcevic from in front of the halfway line. Ball from there right across the box, and it just didn't drop in the right area for either D'Alfonso or Kioso, who was coming in on the far right-hand side. It was sort of, it dropped in between the two of them and gave neither a chance.
Yeah, it was a good spot though by Sarcevic. He's really coming into his own now in this game. He's starting to run it in that central midfield position. He's got a really unorthodox running style, a little bit stiff-legged, but what a good touch and awareness he's got, and real range in his passing.
Referee blows for a free kick for Salford on this near side. You'd have to say that there's more options once it gets into the second half for Salford to tinker with on the bench. Well, probably more options than maybe Bolton have got. Bolton with the 1-0 advantage at the moment, though. And here's Ibu Toure coming down the left side, looking to play a pass in low to Brandon Thomas Asante, but bounced out for a throw-in, and Ibu Toure will take that and throws in towards Ash Hunter. Back to Toure again. Thomas Asante makes himself available on the wing, but Toure looks infield to Lowe. Lowe lost it under his feet for a second. Now picks out Dishon Bernard on the right-hand side. Bernard to Lowe. Salford with a very high line. Bolton being pushed back. Toure to Thomas Asante. To Toure again, and Threlkeld, who's offered assistance from behind. Crawford attempting to break it up, and that hard-working attitude of Bolton sort of put Salford a little bit on their back foot for a moment or two, and the attack was completely broken down.
Yeah, you can see that the trigger points or anything that's square or played backwards by Salford, they step onto him, Bolton.
D'Alfonso backs him well to his man, and ends up back with the Salford keeper. Sorry, Neil Redford alongside me.
It's been a good game. I've enjoyed it, Steve, so far. Been a really good game of football. Both sides have contributed in this, by the way.
Haven't they just? And many might have expected Salford to boss this a bit more. But it's a different Bolton side tonight. Bolton 1, Salford City 0. And here's Dishon Bernard as the visitors from just 11 miles down the road try and plot a route back into this League 2 fixture. It's an important 3 points on offer for both the sides for different reasons. Now, Turnbull picks out Henderson from distance, turned and immediately went for goal with something that you have to have fantastic technique to do. Barely any backlift, and he almost put one into the corner, didn't he, Henderson?
Yeah, but to be fair to him though, his experience shown him it was slightly off his line there, Gilks, and I think if that had come down a little bit quicker he might have had a problem, the big keeper, but as it was always rising. But better passage of play from Salford.
It's Crawford in the centre. The ball came off him awkwardly. Salford pick it up. Henderson's onto it. Henderson to Bernard. Bernard hits it against the legs of Sarcevic. And of course, this is a game you're listening to live on Talksport 2. There's other media coverage tonight, and I think for quite a few of the players there, maybe just change the game sometimes when the spotlight shines on them a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. And added pressure, you want to perform when people are looking in. You want to give a good account of yourselves. And I think, to be fair, as a game, it's been a good spectacle.
Hasn't it just? Bolton Wanderers with possession outside their own penalty area. Up to Crawford, tried to volley it on to Doyle. Doyle went the wrong way, turned his body in the wrong direction. Salford through Tom Clark, played the pass back into the Bolton half. Now it's come out this left wing for Ash Hunter. Hunter plays it back across the halfway line to Jordan Turnbull, one of the two centre halves. He passed it to his right hand side to Tom Clark. No Ash Eastham for Salford City tonight. He's one of the two that have made way, the other being James Wilson, who we believe might have picked up an injury in the last game. The two that have come in for Salford, Tom Clark and George Boyd. Now here's a long pass from Jordan Turnbull from the left hand side, looking to pick out Boyd. Comes back to the halfway line, and Brandon Thomas Asante. Thomas Asante to Toure. Toure picks out a low ball along the floor to Ash Hunter. Hunter now to Henderson. Bolton having to back off and defend. Lowe gives it to Boyd. Boyd to Lowe once more. Has a moment to consider the option, then looks to the wing for Toure, who can deliver a wicked cross from this sort of angle. Hits it against the body of Kioso and ends up in his keeper's arms, Matt Gilks.
Yeah, he's impressed me as well, Bernard, at left back. He's got in some really good positions. His quality's undoubted. Put some really good balls in. Loves that little angle pass into the front player. They've responded well, I think, Salford. They've not got their heads down. They've kept playing the football. They love to pass it.
You feel like there's more goals in this game.
Yeah.
Here's Alistair Crawford for Bolton as they try and conjure up something once more, and Crawford shoots from distance. I don't know whether they've been doing some research on the keeper, Haladki, but Bolton have once or twice tried to shoot from 25 yards.
Yeah.
They just haven't found the ball on target, really.
Yeah, I think you're spot on about him as well, Crawford, Steve. He's a good player. He's been really instrumental early on. He's aware of people around about him. He makes good runs, works his socks off, prepared to get past the front. It's a really good game so far.
The front effectively three for both these sides are intriguing combinations, and that's why at the beginning of the season people were looking at Bolton and Salford and saying they should be considered for promotion.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see that.
The goals can take you there. It's Baptiste, great interception by Bolton on the halfway line. Kioso, now Crawford. He goes back with his pass and Santos leaves it. I'm not sure he meant it for a second. Does end up in the feet of Gilks. Heads it back out to Santos, who dallied with his clearance upfield. It was intercepted by Ash Hunter, and Hunter's persistence has paid off. He's won it back, and he's trying to create something here for Salford. Ends up with Brandon Thomas Asante, left side of the Bolton penalty area. Baptiste with him, holding his arms back. It's piled into the box by Thomas Asante. Comes back out to him on the left wing. He's forced back to the corner flag. Salford still chasing an equaliser in the game. Bolton leading by a goal to nil. On Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. What a fascinating matchup we've got tonight, as Henderson, again all the age and experience, asking some questions on the left side of the Bolton box. Gives it to Toure. Toure, a short right-footed pass into Thomas Asante. They're trying to open up space. They've done that for Ash Hunter, who pushed it over to the right wing for Bichon Bernard. Bernard trying to roll it into Hunter inside the penalty area. Just too many passes Salford were attempting. They couldn't get their foot on the ball in the end, and the ideas all petered out of play.
Yeah, good football though, I have to say. And it's the switch of play that causes the problems, because as soon as they switch the play out and it goes out towards that side, Barnard comes in off the right and it opens up for him, and it's an unlucky pass because he just tries to slide it through and pick the runner out. But really good play by Salford.
Neil Redfern, the former Leeds manager, alongside me. I'm Steve Hothersall. It's Talksport 2, and it's Bolton Wanderers 1, Salford City 0 in League 2. As that high ball drops on Lowe's head, he had pressure from Delfonso behind, and the ball ends up outside the Salford City penalty area. Turnbull to Toure. He's being blocked in his path by Kioso. Plays it back to Turnbull. And Turnbull, with a very noticeable dark beard of his, tries to forge a run in towards the Bolton half. He gets it up to Henderson, but then Henderson's pass didn't have a lot of quality to it, and is kicked away by Delaney.
Yeah, I almost think that Ian Evatt will be really pleased with the fact that they've kept a clean sheet this half, Bolton. They've looked assured at the back, and at times, you know, you've not been able to say that this season. You know, they've looked a bit wobbly at the back, but they've looked really strong, and it's been a good clean sheet so far to keep.
Toure with possession. A lot of the Salford players being down this left-hand side in this first half, and a lot of it has included Toure and Brandon Thomas-Asante. In terms of shots on goal, well, one big one which was brilliantly saved by Matt Gilks, and another quick look at possession shows that Salford are bossing it now. 57% of possession in this game. Is that how you're seeing it?
Yeah, I mean, since the goal they have stepped up. They've had a little purple patch, Bolton, just after the goal, but
oh, that's a wonderful pass. Well, I thought it was, but it just skipped away from the feet of Henderson and into the hands of Gilks.
Yeah, and I think you've got to admire the way that they try and play Salford. It's good football. You know, they get the full-backs forward, and you know, they interlink in midfield. They've got good rotation to shake people free. You know, it's really good stuff.
So here we go once more as Gilks sends that goal kick in towards the Salford half, and Kioso with possession. He tried a cheeky little back flick to get through his man Toure. It didn't work out, and ends up back with the Salford City keeper Haladki. Haladki beaten, of course, just once in this first half by Doyle, a prolific striker who, as soon as he found that extra bit of space, was odds-on favourite to score, and he did just that with a low shot into the corner of Haladski's net. We've got just a minute of normal time left in this first half at the Uniball Stadium, and Salford City playing out from the back with Tom Clark. Baptiste comes to meet it with a header, and it goes out of play for a throw in to Toure. Toure takes, Kioso gets stuck in and diverts the ball forward for Doyle to chase onto. He's relentless, is Doyle, isn't he? He's just someone who won't give up the ghost, like the dog with the bone.
Yeah, the thing that really impresses me, he never switches off. I mean, that's a loose ball that's played forward there, and he's the first one to get onto it. You know, his experience gets him there, and it's a massive plus for him, for Bolton rather, having Owen Doyle back.
It is, because he pulled a hamstring at Cambridge a couple of weeks ago, and there was a doubt over whether he would make tonight, but maybe this one was always earmarked. As Baptiste throw for Bolton down the line, looking for Kioso, didn't quite work out. Salford coming back at Bolton with Henderson running with the ball over the halfway line, but just smothered, and eventually Bolton Wanderers earning themselves the free kick. Just missed the board then. Do we see how many extra minutes we're up, Neil?
I think it said 4, I'm not sure.
Neil Redfern alongside me as we cover EFL action here on Talksport 2. It's just 1 minute of additional action, so just the one added minute, which is amazing considering the number of times the referee was going whistle crazy in the first 20 minutes. Clearance away coming from Salford and Jordan Turnbull towards the halfway line. George Boyd gets a header, but Crawford busy all the time and winning possession back for Bolton Wanderers before Baptiste is penalised for his challenge on Brandon Thomas-Asante. It will be a Salford City free kick on the left-hand side, so perfectly poised for the second half.
Yeah.
Bolton have stepped up their game hugely tonight, but Salford City, well, it's well within their reach, this one. I think we've got a fantastic second 45 on the way, Neil.
Yeah, spot on. I actually think that perhaps Salford have been slightly the better side, if I'm honest, but Bolton have got the noses in front, and fair play to them.
Well, the whistle goes for the end of the first half. It's been absolutely intriguing. These sides separated by just 10 miles, and pre-game you might have thought that Salford City were a long way ahead of Bolton in terms of their form, but Bolton have produced something different tonight, and welcoming back Doyle into the fold has been huge for them. And Owen Doyle, on 23 minutes, slammed home a shot from the right-hand side of Václav Haladski's penalty area, and that is the decisive goal in the first 45. Half-time, Bolton Wanderers 1, Salford City 0. Yes, Salford City making 2 changes at the break for Richie Wellens, of course, his first game in the league as manager, 2 wins in cup competitions, but this is what's important. So 2 changes being made now. The first player to come on is Luke Burgess, and he replaces George Boyd. And the second player to be introduced will be Bruno Andrade, the former Lincoln man, who scored in the past couple of games as well, and he replaces Brandon Thomas Asante. Is that a surprise for you, that change, Neil? Brandon Thomas Asante being taken off?
Yeah, a little bit, because he carried the threat, if I'm honest. I thought he showed some really good touches. I mean, he'd one fantastic strike that Matt Gilks made a really good save from. Yeah, a little bit surprised. I mean, he's obviously not hanging about here, is he, to be fair? Richie Wellens, he wants to get things going, and he's decided to freshen it up.
So the ball being placed on the centre spots, and the referee's counting up the players. Bolton, of course, are in a good frame of mind. They had a decent first 45. We were chatting to our colleagues from Salford City who were covering this game, and Will, their commentator, said to us at the break he hadn't seen Salford City play this badly this season. Yeah. Which I haven't really sort of clocked onto it in that way. I'd more given Bolton the credit than taking it away from Salford star.
Definitely, and I thought there was some good stuff in among as well from Salford. So obviously the standard's really high, to be fair. But what Bolton have done really, really well, they've pressed them well. They've got up the pitch and got close to them and made it difficult for them.
Oh, opportunity maybe early doors, and one that's wasted, and that's a shot which was taken too early by Bruno Andrade just onto the field. His first opportunity at goal, he barely had chance to warm up. He found the ball running through to him on the right hand side of the penalty area, and it looked like he was trying to find the left corner, and he got weak connection on it. He really should have tested the keeper there. Yeah,
he's got a score there, Steve. He snatched at it. It's a great little flick on, and it came at him a little bit quick. That's the only excuse I can give him. But he's got to find the target at least.
As Baptiste drills it away onto the halfway line. So just to repeat for Richie Wellens, it's an important moment because he's setting his stall out in terms of being Salford City's manager in the league, and they've had such success under other managers. In fact, Graham Alexander left the club after 2 wins.
Well, it's true, and it puts added pressure on him. You know, the last thing I want to do is start with a defeat. Probably hence the changes at half time. I mean, you know, the players that were playing hadn't done a lot wrong to me. They'd overplayed a little bit. I think that's a valid point. When they could have got efforts off at goal in the first half, but no, he's not hanging about. He's really going after Bolton here.
And so we're back in play here at the Uniball Stadium, and Salford City clearing to the halfway line through Jordan Turnbull, chased by Alex Baptiste, gets there and turns and clears himself down the right line for Bolton. Referee blows his whistle for a Bolton decision. It will be over on that right hand side just into the Salford half, and Baptiste goes to take the throw in. Infield with that throw and picks out Sarcevic, who had a really good first 45. I think Neil picked up on it a couple of times, played some important passes, found great positions and dominated certain areas, and there he is once again. And out to Chioso on the right. Bolton Wanderers looking to keep it in play with Delfonso. His back heel earns a throw in for Bolton as they make slow but steady progression down the right hand side of the pitch. Throw in taken. Baptiste then hammers it forward, stopped by Crawford, who's found a good level in this game as well. And out to the left wing, and Salford City chasing down and forcing it out again for another throw in. The one thing that really did impress me in the first half was the pressing of the Bolton side.
Yeah, fantastic. And what they did was they made sure they locked on, so there's no spare red shirts. So even from their shape, they adjusted the shape slightly up front. They went a little bit wider and they pushed on from midfield, and they just locked on to Salford. They found it really tough to try and break through and pass past them.
Gethin Jones makes the throw towards Owen Doyle, the goal scorer in the first half. Fabulous finish. And then Bolton lose possession, and it's with one of these substitutes, Luke Burgess. I'll take you through the teams in just a moment, but Burgess loses possession to Alistair Crawford. And the ball bobbles in towards the technical area, and a quick throw in taken by Gethin Jones. Nearly falls kindly for Delfonso, but back comes Salford down the right hand side. There's small areas, small pockets where fierce battles are being fought out at the moment. on this near side of the pitch, and Salford City have themselves a throw-in on the right-hand side. It's with their number 12, Deschamps Bernard, of course, who's the loanee from Manchester United. And now into the centre of the park, it's back with Bolton Wanderers. Ball sent quickly over towards Nathan Delfonso. Delfonso moves towards the corner flag. He's hemmed in there, but he does manage to get the cross in eventually. Then Tom Clark heads it clear. Bolton try and keep up that pressure with Delaney. Delaney with a mazy run forward and almost creating something a little bit extraordinary from the centre half. But Bolton win a throw-in next to the corner flag. Yeah,
I think both centre-halves on the outside of the three, if you like, both Baptiste and Delaney, have stepped in really, really well. They've picked the moments to do it, but when they have, they've been really positive, and it's been really productive for Bolton.
League 2 action on Talksport 2 as the ball comes in from Delaney on the left side, and that will be caught by Václav Hladký in the Salford goal. Quick to get it out, bowls it to the left-hand side. Ash Hunter thought he could race over the halfway line, but Alex Baptiste covered the ground pretty well and put it out for a throw. And so it's Salford City from the halfway line. Long ball, overstretching it too much, and a little bit of frustration from the target there, which was Bruno Andrade. Oscar Threlkeld. Salford still hold on to it. 10 yards into the Bolton half. Now more central with Andrade trying to get his footing, and left-footed took a shot, but it was weak. Again, almost snatched at it, a bit like you mentioned before. Maybe a bit of a desperation to get into things, but plenty of time in this game, and Salford will have opportunities.
It's really funny this, Steve, but they've found a little bit more urgency, Salford, but they seem to have lost a little bit of composure in doing it. You know, that good football that we saw first half, it's a little bit more rushed. I mean, obviously they've had words. He must have addressed them, Richie Wellens, because there's definitely an upbeat in tempo, but they seem to be rushing the passes a little bit more, and they're not as slick, and as they've not worked their way through Bolton as well.
51 minutes gone on Talksport 2, and it's Bolton Wanderers 1, Salford City 0. Salford shooting from left to right as we watch the game. The Bolton side, Matt Jilks in goal. He made a brilliant stop in the first half to deny Brandon Thomas Asante. Three at the back, Baptiste, Santos and Delaney. Midfield of Kioso, Sarcevic, Tutt and Jones, and then Delfonso, Crawford and Owen Doyle completing the Bolton 11. And here's Bolton with Delfonso, and he set off down the right-hand side. Owen Doyle tries to poke it through the legs of Jordan Turnbull, who stood up to him. Don't want to be embarrassed by one of those, but he's quite willing to get close to him, Owen Doyle, and try and slip it through.
Yeah, he did well there, to be fair, big Turnbull. I mean, he lost him, Doyle, for the goal, to be fair, and he wasn't going to go past him there. But they've looked better than this first half, I think, Salford. They just need to settle a little bit and start passing again.
Give you that Salford side in a second, but it's a throw-in for Bolton on the edge of the Salford penalty area. Throw to Baptiste. Comes back to Kioso. Now Kioso in space near the corner flag, hits it against the man nearest to him, and Lowe had a moment or two to try and calm things down for Salford, but it comes straight back to the halfway line, and Bolton pick up on it once again. And there's Crawford dropping deep. He's so important from back to front, is Crawford.
Yeah, mate, you picked him out a bit early on in the game, Stephen, and he's been excellent today, I have to say. He's prepared to drop into midfield and play, or he finds a little pockets just in behind the front. He's a really good player.
Gethin Jones looking for the pass through to Sarcevic, but won back by Salford. So Salford with Hladký in goal, Deschamps Bernard, Tom Clark, Jordan Turnbull and Ibu Toure. The back four, Oscar Threlkeld and Jason Lowe in the midfield. They've taken off two of the attacking players that started in George Boyd and Brandon Thomas Asante. They've been replaced by Bruno Andrade and Luke Burgess, and Ash Hunter and Ian Henderson complete the 11. It's Threlkeld to Ash Hunter. Hunter, who's tried to shoot from this sort of distance in the first half, but this time he plays it out to the left-hand side. Low cross comes in for Henderson, beaten away by Santos. Out to Threlkeld, who has a go at goal himself. And it's caught by the keeper. I don't know whether a little bit of the sting was taken off that. And hit long and up to the other end of the field, and straight into the hands of the Salford keeper.
Yeah, it's a big clearance. I would have thought that Ian Everett would want his experienced keeper just to be taking a little bit of pressure off his back three there, not kicking it so early. but he's gone for the big kick down the pitch. Matt Gilks trying to find Alfonso, and it just ended up bouncing straight through to Hladky.
Some big news, of course, breaking in terms of Sheffield Wednesday in the past couple of hours. You heard it first on Talksport 2, and there'll be plenty more reaction to the news of Tony Pulis's appointment, I'm sure, throughout the course of the day tomorrow, particularly in the EFL show with Dan Windle from 1 to 2. Your thoughts on Tony Pulis as a replacement for Gary Monk? Very different managers, very different philosophies.
Yeah, absolutely. Vastly experienced, knows his way out of the Championship, knows how to get promoted. He will definitely be in charge of bringing players in, so it's a change of tact, if you like, where they recruited themselves. So it'd be interesting to see how they go on, but he's definitely got the pedigree, there's no two ways about it.
Well, good luck to him. Game day live tomorrow is Sunderland against MK Dons on Talksport 2. Sunderland hoping to move into an automatic promotion place, and a win for MK Dons just as important further down the table. And of course, so many good League 2 games tomorrow. You could pick out Carlisle against Cheltenham, 5th against 6th, or Forest Green against Mansfield, 3rd against 22nd. They'll be covered off throughout the course of the afternoon. Here, Bolton 1, Salford City 0. I'm Steve Hothersall. Neil Redfern, the former Leeds manager, and of course, a man who played for Bolton at the start of his career, is alongside me.
Yeah, a long time ago, that early 80s. Had a really good side then, looking to break in, as a young player.
Andrade, nice ball in towards Deschamps Bernard. Now a chance for Lowe to maybe shoot. Blocked out by a wonderful blocking tackle from Kioso, but Salford keep up the pressure on the left-hand side. Another low ball is driven in by Ibu Toure, and away by Santos.
Yeah,
well, what a block that was.
It was as well. 1,000,000% better around the box as well. Attitude towards finishing, getting your shots off. Really 2 or 3 shots there from Salford players hit early, but really brave defending, like you say, Steve. Players prepared to get the bodies in the way. Big Baptiste blocking the last one. It's important that Bolton do this. They need to keep this clean sheet intact at 1-0, because they're starting to grow into this game now, Salford.
Bolton Wanderers with a free kick on the right hand side, just inside their own half, and Baptiste standing over the ball. Referee's finished his conversation. What are we looking at there? Oh, possession again. You like these possession stats, don't you, Neil? Salford just about on 60% possession now.
It's gone right up. Yeah, they've really stepped on the gas, Salford.
As Lowe sends it forward for the run of Henderson, who despite his years still is willing to give it everything for Salford, and looks just as enthusiastic and vibrant as the rest of the side, to be honest. Bolton got it away there, ends up on the halfway line with Threlkeld for Salford City, out to the right hand side, and Deschamps Bernard. Andrade, the half-time substitute, one of 2 made by the Salford City manager, and there's a big challenge coming in from Deschamps Bernard, which momentarily keeps down the Bolton number 18, Andrew Tutt, the midfielder. He's okay, he's got back to his feet. They could certainly do without any more injuries. They've had a few which have hampered progression this season, Bolton Wanderers.
Yeah, and I think he's important for Sarcevic, because he allows him just to roam a little bit and get on the ball and play. He's a real insurance policy, if you like, in midfield for Bolton.
Delaney upfield, met by Tom Clark, who stepped just over the halfway line. The ball then drops for Luke Burgess, who's given 100% to try and make a difference for this Salford side, but they've lost possession there, and Kioso for Bolton has it. He's found a ball into Delfonso, who momentarily loses possession, trying to follow it up with Sarcevic, but Salford City have done well to break with possession. Here's Bruno Andrade, skips away from the challenge, tries to get a low cross into the penalty area for Ash Hunter, and it's blocked away by Bolton Wanderers. Well, that's what they've got in their locker, Salford. Even when they're on the back foot, they have this ability to break and create something within a couple of seconds. They've got fast players.
Yeah, I think in Andrade and Burgess, they've got a little bit more of a turn of pace going forward. A couple of times now they've counter-attacked, and they've round the Bolton penalty area really, really quickly, and they're at full tilt trying to defend Bolton.
Well, our 2 managers tonight will know each other inside out. They took their coaching qualifications together, Ian Evatt and Richie Wellens. and sort of aware of the different paths that they've taken, and also tactically what they're all about. And that's probably why it's made it such a tight affair as well. And as we approach 60 minutes, Bolton still lead by a goal to nil. Were you always like that? Was there people you knew, who you always knew tactically?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you start thinking towards the end of your career as a player about, what you're going to do, and you start taking your qualifications, and you start coming across players that want you to go that way, like yourself. Obviously, this is what's happened with Ian Evatt and Richie Wellens, but I have to say that this has been a really intriguing game. It's a good football game. The football belies the level, perhaps, and I mean that in the kindest way. It's been a really good football game. Both sides trying to outpass one another at times, and it's been a good spectacle.
It's Alistair Crawford, free kick for Bolton Wanderers, 10 yards into the Salford half, right of centre, and Crawford had loads of options. Literally everyone has gone forward as Bolton searches second. That ball's headed into the box by Delaney. Baptiste is there, the long shot comes in, and it's Sarcevic, but although he's connected with it, he's miskicked it to the left-hand side of goal, and in frustration he punches the air for a second and his head hangs loose.
Yeah, I think he's angry with himself because, that was a good opportunity. It was a great setback by Baptiste. Did well, the big centre-back. Got his body and held it up, just laid it off to him. And he struck it first time, and I think he knows he's better than that. He just pulled that slightly. That was a good opportunity.
So for Salford City, 10th place tonight on 16 points. Of course, the leaders Newport at the top on 25. They'll know they don't want to lose ground. Bolton Wanderers, though, 20th with 10 points. They know they need to make up massive ground. That's what's at stake as this crunching tackle comes in and leaves, I can't quite see who that is, a Bolton player on the floor. Who's Gethin Jones, isn't it?
Yeah, he did well, to be fair, to read it, because it was a good switch of play. Out to this right hand side for Bernard, but he read it really well. Jones got to it.
He's up and he's okay, and Dijon Bernard has possession back once more for Salford. Left footed, tries to open up the space for Salford City by playing a ball crossfield to the left wing for Ibu Toure, and Toure wins the throw in off Peter Kiosa. Toure lines up this throw, it'll be short to Ash Hunter, now infield. And that's passed by Jason Lowe, intercepted, and back in Bolton possession. And Kioso with it. I think he's been impressive tonight.
Yeah.
Further forward by Bolton Wanderers and Sarcevic. He was hoping to just drop one over the top of Jordan Turnbull and let loose Delfonso, but it didn't come off. Back comes Salford City. There's been a fair bit of sway in this game, one side to the other. And Salford in the red shirts and the white shorts, attacking down the right side with Dijon Bernard. Bernard, he might look to go towards the dead ball line with this. He's just got his foot, he robs it over the top of the ball, gives it back to Threlkeld, him to Lowe. Lowe trying to feed it round the edge of the box to Ash Hunter. He's been a little bit quick to take a shot on a couple of times, Hunter, but this time he can't see any sight of goal past Peter Kioso. Now it's going to be with Ibu Toure on the left side of the Bolton penalty area. Pass it to Luke Burgess, one of the substitutes. I think you could point a finger and say too many passes round the Bolton box in the first half from Salford. Maybe not clinical enough, maybe not trying to test that keeper enough.
Yeah, you can, but you can also point to as well that the fact how well Bolton have defended here. They've got to the player, just stood up, made the decision. Good pinch again by Santos there.
Yeah, terrific. Just wrapped his big, long, gangly leg round the player and got it away. An important interception there by Santos, and just part of forcing play all the way back towards the keeper Václav Hladký, who was beaten by a real top-class goal in the first half of this game on 23 minutes. Struck from Owen Doyle, and Doyle, who arrived at Bolton Wanderers with this phenomenal reputation, and I'm sure personally desperate to keep that reputation on such a high level. At this stage last season, Doyle was the leading scorer in all European leagues, one ahead of Robert Lewandowski. Now that's a claim to fame, isn't it?
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean the thing that he gives you as well is not just the goals, which is the most important bit, but he also gives you that threat in behind, and his clever runs and his hold-up play. He's just a really good, experienced player.
Clark with the defensive header, drops towards Henderson inside the Bolton half, but can't get his foot on it. Bolton then send it long through Alex Baptiste, looking for the run of Peter Kioso, but that was intelligent defending from Ibu Toure to head it back to his keeper. And I mentioned it a few moments ago, this flow, it is sort of ebbing and flowing between both penalty areas.
Yeah, and it's just starting to get stretched. I think that's something that the game, rather, and I think that's something that Ian Evatt will be aware of. You know, we noticed that how well they defended around the box there, Bolton, in that little spell of good pressure by Salford. But the game is starting to just stretch a little bit, where people are going to get opportunities.
And Salford keeper Haladki pins one up towards Andrade, the half-time sub. But at times these Bolton defenders have been sublime, and you know, Santos has made one or two important interceptions. Delaney's worked hard, Baptiste as well. And play's just halted there as a foul is given Salford's way.
Yeah, it looked a little bit of a 50-50 challenge, that, to be honest with you. I'm not sure how the referees worked that out to be a Salford free kick, but he has. But it's one to defend for that Bolton back line. They're all lined up now, the white shirts across the edge of the box. Need to get the head on this. 65 minutes played. Bolton Wanderers still with the slender advantage, the 1-goal lead over Salford City. Salford with a free kick, 25 yards out, but very much right of the penalty area. Ash Hunter looks to the far side, curls one in. There's men arriving, but no one can quite get the clean header on it. And the referee in the end points towards the keeper's 6-yard box and indicates a foul inside that area, which will mean a free kick for Bolton. Yeah, they have put the bodies on the line, this Bolton side, to be fair, particularly this half where they've had pressure around the box, Salford, and they put balls in the box at times. You know, particularly Big Santos there, Baptiste, Delaney, really prepared to get on the end of things and clear the lines.
Well, Ian Evatt says Bolton will be a much more rounded squad at the end of the season, and he did say a game like tonight could kickstart things hugely for them.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a statement, to be fair. I mean, we did talk about earlier on, you know, about how important the 3 points was for both sides. But I think, you know, from Bolton's point of view, you know, that the needs are greater.
Just 2 wins in 11 games for them so far. Santos again, really good high leg just to clip the ball away from the Salford attacker. And it will go out for a throw-in for Bolton Wanderers on this near side. You're with Talksport 2. I'm Steve Hothersall alongside Neil Redfern. And I think we're thoroughly enjoying the EFL action that we've got on show tonight. I hope you're enjoying the commentary. And what a pick of the games to start the weekend. The margins are tight. Here's some defending by Turnbull. Oh! He's forced it into his own net. He saw Owen Doyle just off his shoulder. Turnbull stuck out the leg and he's hooked it into his own goal. Absolute calamity. I think he was aware of the presence of the Bolton striker Doyle, and somehow he sent it past his own keeper.
Well, that is extraordinary, I have to say.
Bolton Wanderers 2, Salford City 0.
If that was at the other end, you'd say what a sublime finish. He almost lobbed his own keeper. I think he's took his eye off the ball a split second. As this ball gets played over, you're right, Doyle's presence is a problem for him. And I think he just takes his eye off it, throws his leg at it, and his leg, the strike takes it over the keeper, Haladki. Now this is a real uphill battle now for Salford. It's
such a crazy goal. I think we were both stunned for a moment or two because the keeper Haladki couldn't quite believe it.
Well, it was a perfect finish. You know, if he had,
it was a striker's finish, wasn't it?
He got no chance.
And it's Bolton Wanderers 2, Salford City 0, but in the most bizarre of circumstances.
Well, I mean, if you look at it realistically, Turnbull, he's been at fault with both goals. He was definitely at fault losing Owen Doyle first half, lost his man, and again there under pressure by Doyle. They'd be having nightmares about Doyle, Turnbull, because you know he's plagued him all night, and he's forced the defender into scoring an own goal.
Well, Turnbull won't want to watch it again. I think we all fell into a moment of stunned silence as we were thinking, is that really happened? But it did, as Turnbull slots it past his own keeper under slight pressure, not even intense pressure from Owen Doyle, but just the nature of having Doyle in those areas pays dividends, and I think that's what Ian Evatt will say.
I think two things here, Steve. I think that the fact that Bolton were prepared to play behind Turnbull put him under pressure, and I think that the obvious one is that Doyle was prepared to chase it, and he didn't give it up, and it caused Turnbull all sorts of problems.
So Salford 2 down now. Here's Andrade trying to bring the game back to life. He set it up perfectly for Hunter, but that's a great save through the feet of the keeper. Yet again, Matt Gilks called into action. Salford try and maintain that pressure and intensity, but Hunter with a wonderful opportunity to claw back something in this fixture. Might have gone either side of the keeper, but Gilks just kept himself big enough and blocked it out. And here's Salford going again, trying to back into the penalty area. Henderson, and away by Bolton Wanderers towards the halfway line. Another vital stop, but will Hunter look at that and think, I should be doing better?
Yeah, that was a great chance, because it a full sighted goal there, and he'd either side of Gilks. But to be fair to Gilks, like you said, Steve, he stood up big, got his angles right, and made the save. I just think he's made a couple of saves now, one at 0-0 and one at 2-0, which might help his manager get a win tonight, and the manager will be feeling justified for bringing him in.
Somehow I don't think Billy Crellin is returning to goal for the next game at the moment.
Not anytime soon, I don't think.
The goalkeeping coach, aged 38 years, who joined in August of this year, who then brought in Billy Crellin. He was his man. But Matt Gilks is reliving his youth with some excellent stops tonight. And his Bolton Wanderers looking for a third. They're 2-0 up against Salford City. It really wasn't a scoreline that I think many people would have expected come this stage of the game. 70 minutes played on Talksport 2. Live EFL commentary from the Unibowl Stadium, where Bolton are beating Salford. And Owen Doyle does brilliantly. Gets round his man Threlkeld and brings in more players. Oh, they really should be making it a third. And Owen Doyle, very unselfishly, laid it off to the right-hand side. And there was a massive opportunity for Bolton Wanderers to make it 3-0. And it was Sarcevic, and he didn't take it. What on earth was Sarcevic doing? Yeah,
great play again by Doyle. I mean, he could have shot himself, but he used the fact that the goal had opened up to him for the defender to dive in, and he just slipped it down the side of the defender into Sarcevic, and he tries to dink it over Hladky and just gets it too big, and it clears the bar. But you know, that could have put this game to bed if that ended up in the net.
Tom Clark with a hopeful long ball for Henderson, who's still trying to run the channels, still giving it his all, but you can't help but look back at the chance that Hunter was presented with maybe 5 minutes ago and think that could have been a big turning point in the game for Salford City. They didn't take it for a number of reasons, and a 2-goal lead is a pretty good cushion, you'd say, for the home team.
It is, and I can't help but feel that at this moment in time, Owen Doyle and Matt Gilks are the difference between the two sides. You know, okay, you know, the second save's a bread and butter save. The first save for me is a top save. But just Owen Doyle's presence, you know, and his ability to find the net and put people under pressure.
So another substitution being made by Bolton Wanderers.
Owen Doyle's gone off.
Replaced by Desiree. I don't think the pronunciation is 100% correct, but we did have this conversation pre-match. We'll go with that.
Sounds good enough to me, that mate.
Salford City attacking. Ash Hunter down the left-hand side. Torres come in to help him and fires in a shot which is smothered at the near post by Gilks, who yet again is enjoying his moment in the limelight and blocking out simply everything at present.
Well, do you know what? That's a harder save than he made it look, because that was really whipped in with pace, and it's coming across bodies. And he took it really well at the near post, Matt Gilks. He's had a good game tonight.
Fired upfield by Gilks. And there's Sarcevic hoping to hold on to possession. It's dropped to Kioso on the right-hand side. Salford managed to move it away momentarily, but there's a Bolton body down on the floor.
Yeah, I think it's Delfonso. I think he just fell a little bit awkward with that challenge there from Tom Clark. They just look a little bit deflated now, don't you think, Steve? Salford, after that second goal, because they were just on the up there. They had a little bit of momentum with them.
Must apologise. It was Sean Miller who came on before, so Miller's on there. It's still down on the floor at the moment, so taking his time to
they're not
get himself back involved. So the players halted for a second or two.
They're not nice, them. When you fall on your back and it knocks the wind out you. Horrific.
So Salford City, do they have it within their stock to grab 2 goals within the 15 minutes plus added time that we've got remaining here? It's I've been saying intriguing throughout the course of the night, and it remains that way because it certainly isn't game over, and Salford have got a lot of firepower, but at the moment Bolton, you'd have to say, well worthy of their lead. Here's Hunter, and in front of him on the right hand side Luke Burgess, but instead Dishon Bernard then had the option of a shorter pass to Jason Lowe. He tried to overplay it. Lowe couldn't get to the ball and ends up in the hands of the Bolton keeper.
Yeah, just that little bit of that lack of quality at the time. The weight of pass there, just too strong for the runner, the midfield runner. I mean, it's a good run from Lowe, but the pass is poor.
It's a header back by Lowe towards his keeper, Václav Hladký. And Hladký, who was also someone who was eyed up by Bolton Wanderers, but eventually joined Salford from St Mirren. Reports north of the border said even Stephen Gerrard was eyeing him up for a possible move to Rangers. There's a clearance by Ryan Delaney in the Bolton defence. And on the halfway line, Dishon Bernard again. So will it be a sustained period of Salford pressure now? Crossfield ball towards Jordan Turnbull, who was mentioned by Neil Redfern, really hasn't had the greatest of nights. The second goal is one of nightmares, an own goal which I'm sure will be replayed on various occasions for all the wrong reasons if you're a footballer.
Yeah, it was just a freakish accident, if you like. You know, he didn't really slash a leg it. He just almost tried to play it somehow, but took his eye off the ball and didn't realise his keeper was, well, nearly penalty spottish at the time, and it dollied over the goalkeeper perfectly into the back of the net.
Dollied, wonderful description of it. 76 minutes played. It's Talksport 2. I'm Steve Hothersall, Neil Redfern alongside me. Bolton 2, Salford City 0, and Salford City probing down the right hand side, and that ball back through Dishon Bernard towards Tom Clark, then Oscar Threlkeld, and then the aforementioned Jordan Turnbull, picked up on the left hand side by Jason Lowe. Can't see a way through. Again, that organisation of Bolton Wanderers is stopping the Salford vision from progressing at certain points in the pitch. And now they've come back to the right, and Dishon Bernard again. In front of him, Alistair Crawford, who's been exceptional tonight for Bolton. Back to Tom Clark once more, the former Preston North End captain, who's been playing actually right back at Salford for a couple of games. Over to Ash Hunter on the left wing. Now Torres, cutting infield, looking for a perfect pass. There's no option, so Luke Burgess still with Salford. Still red bodies buzzing around the Bolton penalty area, but the eventual pass is easily picked out by Anthony Sarcevic, the Bolton Wanderers captain, who wins a foul on the right hand side, and a good 3-4 minutes of Salford possession comes to nothing.
Yeah, I just can't help feeling we're going back to the same problem for Salford. Too many passes, too many safe passes. Bolton are happy to just get bodies back in front of the ball. I mean, the possession stats are up again, 62% possession for Salford, but they can keep the ball all day if they're not going to put it in the back of the net. It's not going to count for much. They do need to try and learn to put the ball at risk a little bit more in the final third, and they need to have runners going in behind and entering the box and getting down the sides of this Bolton back three or this Bolton back line to do that, and they've just not been able to do it at all in this second half, Salford.
Bolton are making a change at the moment, and that's Nathan Delfonso coming off and being replaced by Lloyd Isgrove. At the same time, Salford City have thrown another hand in, and Emmanuel Desarouve is on. So that's a different option for Salford City going forward, and he's adopted a position literally as the centre forward.
Yeah. Well, he's got to throw the dice now. Richie Wellens, he's got to try and get a goal back.
Here's Alistair Crawford from distance, right-footed, belts it very high into the seats behind the Salford City goal, and that far back that Václav Hladký goes and collects another ball which had been waiting on the side, so that can just get play going once more. Salford ping it into the midfield area. Luke Burgess, and over into the feet of Jordan Turnbull. Left hand side now with Ibu Toure, very clever to skip away from the approaching challenge, and over to Tom Clark once more. Well, it's been real education tonight in terms of what these two sides can actually be like, because Salford City you'd expect far more, and Bolton Wanderers we didn't realise that perhaps they could play to this intensity and level.
Yeah,
and it just shows that nothing's over in this league until it's over.
No, you're spot on, and I think the instigator all night has been Owen Doyle. He's off the pitch now, but he's made a real difference for Bolton.
Luke Burgess for Salford City. 10 minutes of normal time remaining at the Uniball Stadium. Now back to Tom Clark. Clark with a hopeful ball, really. No massive quality to it. Delaney got rid of it for Bolton Wanderers. Clark was aiming towards Andrade. Ends up on the halfway line with Threlkeld. Threlkeld towards Jordan Turnbull. One thing that's noticeable about Salford's results this season, they haven't had back-to-back wins, so they really have been suffering inconsistency. Obviously not as much as Bolton Wanderers, but even Salford, who very much tipped for promotion, haven't put runs together that make you think they're one of the teams that will be top spot come the end of the season. It's Threlkeld now low, and Ash Hunter, who tested the keeper Jilks before, plays it into Andrade backing into his man on the edge of the Bolton box, but again hard work and perseverance from the Bolton defending pays off. That breaks down for Bolton though, and back comes Salford with Lowe, and Lowe's robbed of possession by Alistair Crawford.
Yeah, against him, too many passes in and around the ball. I mean, you're talking about shooting distance here, you're talking about 18, 19, 20 yards out.
Henderson over to the left hand side. Toure tried to take it round his man Kioso, overran the ball, and a goal kick for Bolton Wanderers.
I tell you what, we've got to go back to as well here, I think, and we've got to give them real credit here, how they've stuck to it at the back. Bolton, they've really worked hard, they've been disciplined, they've kept the shape, they've closed down in midfield when they could press high, they've done it. They've got the noses in front, they've got goals at the right time. And I just think it's been a really, really thorough, good performance by Bolton Wanderers.
Well, I'll show my hand here and reveal a conversation we had pre-match where I said to you, I didn't think their back three worked particularly well. But, you know, look at it tonight. As Alistair Crawford comes off, I mean, what a shift.
Yeah, tremendous.
He's placed in there. Tom White, the midfielder, comes on to shore up the middle of the park and perhaps be a bit more defensive, but Crawford take a bit of a bow. Yeah, brilliant tonight. For me, probably man of the match. You know, we've talked a lot about Owen Doyle and his importance, and he has been important. But this kid Crawford's been outstanding. There's Bolton attack again, and this time it's snapped up by Lowe, sends it back to his keeper. Hladký hits it long. Santos involved in the battle with the substitute for Salford, Desiree. Actually ends up at the feet of Luke Burgess. And to the right side, Dishon Bernard. Well, time is ticking down on this game, and Salford City simply haven't got any answers at the moment. Here's Henderson. He's having to chase back with possession of the ball at the moment. It's not the area he wants to be running into. Burgess once more over on the right-hand side. Again to receive it, Henderson. Who else? Threlkeld now. Place the ball upfield for Dishon Bernard with the outside of his boot. He looked to bring in the striker. It didn't quite work out. Ends up with Toure on the left side. His cross into the box. Eventually cleared up towards the halfway by Bolton Wanderers. Yeah, if you look now, Steve, every white shirt is in their own half, in Bolton's own half. So every man got a hand to the pump. They're all working, they're all closing down, they're all making it difficult for Salford.
Yes, Salford have got possession, but they're going nowhere with it.
That was a tired clearance by Sarcevic there, which perhaps shows the level that Bolton have put into the game. Lowe's onto it. Oh, sloppy from him. He almost gave his crossfield ball away, but Salford eventually grab it with Burgess. Now Threlkeld into the Bolton half, and pushed over is Emmanuel Desiree. Still working to get a goal back, a foot in the game. Salford City with Bruno Andrade crossing it into the Bolton penalty area, but there's only one player in there for Salford City, and that cross was nowhere near Desiree.
It's almost like they want to get involved in. There's like a five-a-side going on in midfield, and they want to get involved in that. You know, that's a ball that's gone into the box that needs red shirts to try and get on the end of it. And if you don't do that, then it might look nice, but you're going to get beat, and that's the way it's going at this moment in time.
Well, it's been a brilliant night on Talksport 2 for Bolton Wanderers fans, up to this point anyway. And we did look at the stats at half-time as to how many games they've led and what's happened to them.
Yeah.
And we determined that they'd need two, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We didn't know it was going to come like that, though, did we?
No, I don't think anyone did.
No.
And I think, I mean, I shouldn't say it, but I'm almost desperate to see the goal again, just to work out in my head how on earth Jordan Turnbull has turned it past Václav Hladký in his own goal. But he did, and it made it Bolton Wanderers 2, Salford City 0. So 5 minutes of normal time plus some added time, although there haven't been many stoppages. And it's with Ibu Toure on the left wing. The red shirts of Salford, they're not moving dynamically enough, they're not offering enough options, and that about sums it up as Oscar Threlkeld sent a ball right through the centre, and I think by the time he kicked it, he decided perhaps something else, and the ball simply went nowhere into the arms of Gilks.
Yeah, just desperation, trying to find somebody on a direct pass, but they're too well organised to fall for that one at this moment in time, Bolton. They've got everybody behind the ball. The back five's intact, if you like. The wing backs are only venturing forward when they need to. The game's done for them, and they're seeing the game out really well, I have to say.
Well, Everts, he's still barking, he's still living every kick at the moment in that technical area. I haven't seen too much of Richie Wellens doing the same thing. The ball is placed back to the Bolton keeper and out by Gilks over the halfway line, and I think it's a fair enough determination. What Neil was saying before in terms of some key contributors in this game, Alistair Crawford, but Gilks definitely, and Owen Doyle, and they're three big components of this Bolton win. Now here's Bolton down the left side with Sean Miller, right foot, puts it into the box, and it just flew past the advancing man Peter Chioso. They had an opportunity maybe to make it 3, didn't quite work out. Sarcevic has picked it up on the far side. Baptiste is still there, so they haven't given up on this pressure, Bolton Wanderers. Sarcevic once more races towards the corner flag. Is he looking to cross or hold it up? Well, he's lost possession, and Henderson is back there defending and slams it upfield. Henderson, I said it before, I mean, how much ground does he cover for his age? It's truly remarkable.
Yeah, and if you're Richie Wellens looking in, he's the last one you want to be thinking about taking off as well, because he's so inventive and he's so instrumental to this Salford side. He's got to be on for 90 minutes if possible.
And so as this game ticks to a close, questions will be asked about Salford City tonight, but maybe also questions posed about what Bolton Wanderers can actually achieve this season if they continue playing like this. So here's Bolton defending with a ball back towards the keeper Gilks, and played back by Santos, and then upfield towards the Bolton attack as they maybe still hold hope of a third. Here's Sarcevic, gets round his man, left-footed, takes it on himself, and look at that, for the second time in the game he knows he should have scored. Anthony Sarcevic, well, clear opportunity that was eventually wasted by something of a timid effort.
Yeah, well, I think he just run out of steam in the end, but he's been another one that's been a standout performer. I think Sarcevic is, he's got a real definite way that his style of play, he's got real ability. He runs well with the ball, he creates, he's got vision, and he's really determined. He's done a lot of the horrible stuff as well. He's tracked back and tackled and got his foot in. Good performance.
As Salford go forward again, Bolton Wanderers lead 2-0 on Talksport 2. Been a pleasure to bring you this game. There's more action to bring you tomorrow after 3 o'clock. Game day live is Sunderland against MK Dons, and that's going to be in the company of Mark Wilson and Jerry Taggart. Should be a fantastic listen. Before that, on the EFL show with Dan Windle between 1 and 2, all the big stories covered off, including of course that new appointment at Sheffield Wednesday of Tony Pulis. Well, Tom Clark still showing he wants something out of this game, diving into that challenge, winning it for Dishon Bernard. Now Burgess. Salford City still have it. Cross the field, but it's a pass we've seen too many times towards Ibu Toure, into the box and headed away by Santos. Kioso heads it back into his own penalty area before Sarcevic volleys up to the halfway line. And Bolton Wanderers somehow forge a bit of an opening, and it's cross field by Sean Miller, and bringing into play Andrew Tutt, and over to Peter Kioso, and they'll possibly think about whiling down the minutes now. 3 minutes of added on time, and Bolton Wanderers are not far away from 3 huge points for them. And there's a foul committed by Bruno Andrade, as his aggression was perhaps a result of just how much he desperately wanted to give Salford some sort of lifeline.
Yeah, I think that was just shoulder to shoulder. I looked at the boys reporting here doing the game for Salford in the comms, and they're throwing their arms in their head, and I think they're right, to be honest with you. He's been very good, the referee, tonight, though, I have to say. He's been unnoticed, and that's always a good sign for a referee.
Neil Redfern, you've enjoyed looking at the stats all night, so
yes.
Just give us a final summary of what we've actually witnessed.
Well, I mean, as a game, as a spectacle, a really good game of football, I think, and Salford's played a part in that. I think they've lost their way as the game's gone on. From Bolton's point of view, a really switched on, organised display, took the goals at the right time. Doyle's been the difference, if I'm honest, and obviously the decision to put Matt Julks in, he's been there when they've needed him, and he'll be really pleased with his decisions tonight, will Ian Evatt.
And Salford City give away possession there, and one of the substitutes for Bolton Wanderers, Sean Miller, who's got himself thoroughly involved in the game, was the man who intercepted, and is still with Bolton possession. The white shirts are playing with confidence, with chests puffed out at the moment. Ball forward by Bolton, but Tom Clark sends it back to Hladky, his keeper. Hladky then fires it back out to Clark over the advancing player, and ends up somewhere near the halfway line. Gethin Jones, challenge coming in from Dishon Bernard, but again he's just offering a little bit too much, and that will be a Bolton Wanderers free kick. So stats wise, possession at this point?
Yeah, well, obviously Salford right up there now, because Bolton are happy enough to just sit back behind the ball. They're on 65% possession, Bolton are on 35, sorry. It's enough for Bolton just to see this game out. The clean sheet will be key. They'll really want a clean sheet tonight, because it's always a good sign if you can nil the opposition.
Friday night football live on Talksport 2 in the EFL, and it's been a fantastic watch and hopefully a fantastic listen as Bolton march their way to 3 points. That's a high boot from Tom Clark, but the referee's happy to see play continue. Header away by Burgess comes to nothing, and Bolton come back again. A long shot, which I suppose was good in idea by Sean Miller, but not in execution. Only rumbled its way through towards Hladky and the Salford goal. Now here's Threlkeld, out to his left-hand side. Toure, upfield with his pass. The substitute, Emmanuel, can't grab onto that ball. He's not made much of a difference. His introduction for Salford City. And the referee blows for 3 huge points for Bolton Wanderers in what is something of a local derby. Bolton beating Salford by 2-0. Salford were the favourites coming into this one, but Bolton have moved themselves up the league table with 3 important points. They've navigated 5 positions there to put themselves on 12 points, And tactically, it's been brilliant from Ian Evatt and his Bolton Wanderers side tonight. There will be questions asked of Salford City. And in his first game in charge, Richie Wellens, or first league game in charge, Richie Wellens has fallen at the hurdle. But a fantastic watch. Bolton Wanderers 2, Salford City 0.